Good morning.
Good morning.
Episode 43.
Man, we're in it.
43. That's impressive.
That's older than both of us.
Did you think we would go this long?
Did you know what? I had no expectations.
Yeah.
Do you have a limit? Do you want to cut it off at a certain number?
43.
It's today.
Just kidding. This is one of my favorite hours of the week.
By and by. Speaking of hours,
Okay.
you just briefly mentioned it's nearly 9 a.m. and
Yeah.
you've already had 3 meetings.
3 meetings, woke up at 5.
What time does your first
Workout.
meeting start?
So one of them was a phone call.
Okay.
So it's kind of a meeting. Phone call on the drive-in.
Got it. Okay.
And then a meeting at 8 and a meeting at 8:30. And then this time.
Half-hour meetings.
Yeah.
That's intense.
I like half-hour meetings. I like 10-minute meetings. I'm trying to get better at shortening my meetings. Well, that's not true because we just extended a lot of our meetings. I don't know. We're playing around with meeting structures a little bit right now.
I just feel like if you can meet in half an hour, I feel like that could have been an email.
Okay, I saw a TikTok the other day. And
wait, is that a TikTok?
What?
What I just said?
Kind of. Pretty similar.
That's
Well,
funny.
okay,
You made it sound like I was quoting something, and I felt like that was a very clever line I just came up with.
That could have been an email concept.
Okay, yes.
You've heard that before,
I've
right?
heard meeting, yes.
Could have been an email.
Yeah.
Okay, but I saw a TikTok, and it was I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it's like what I say should have been an email, and then I receive an email and I roll my eyes. I'm like, ugh. I got an email and it's still bad. There's
no winning.
There's no
could have been a text.
Yeah, it could have been just not talked about at all.
Could have never been mentioned. That's funny. Yeah, okay. Could have been an email. I was equating that to 30 minutes. 30 minutes or less.
Could have been an email. I like quick, efficient conversations,
And you feel like you have to have those in person?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't read my emails or don't respond. Or
to be fair, in this company, there's quite a few emails.
There's a lot of emails
sent around.
Okay, so speaking of that, I was in Mexico for 10 days, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Got back. I spent 4 to 5 hours yesterday catching up on emails, and I definitely unplugged on the trip, which was great.
Yeah.
More so than I think any other 10-day trip I've ever been on.
Great.
Like I only worked 2 out of 10 days.
Okay.
For a couple hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Which was great for
Yeah.
me. But that meant that I had a lot to catch up on. So I literally spent almost the entire day yesterday just responding. I started the day with 200 emails in my inbox. Sorted through them, got rid of anything that was just obviously junk or just didn't need a response. And then I had at least 75 that needed some sort of response or action or something. So it was a long Monday.
Okay, so let me ask you, does that feel are you man, I wish I had either somebody cover stuff for me while I was gone, or did it change anything for you to come back and have so much to do?
I was fine with it. Usually I would the Sunday, the night before.
Yeah.
Usually Sunday nights I'll spend a couple hours catching up on emails and prepping for the week.
Yeah.
We can get home to 10:30 Sunday night.
Okay.
So I didn't do that. But
okay.
I was okay with it. Yeah. I was able to actually unplug quite a bit on this trip.
That's great.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a friend who's he'll maybe unplug, but then when he comes back, he's got so much work to do that it almost makes it not as enjoyable. And so it's trying to find that balance of how can you unplug and also not have to make up for 10 days, I
have a friend that works at Boeing, an older friend, and he says when he'll go out of town for a week and he'll come back, he'll hit select all on his inbox and he'll hit delete. And that's what he does.
That just gave me instant anxiety.
Right. And he's like, if it's important, they'll follow up, is what he says. And I'm just I couldn't do that. There's no way. But I respect it. I respect that approach. And Boeing's a very different company than we are. But I'm that is bold.
Well, and it's worked for him so far.
Yeah.
So
he's been there for many years.
Okay. Well, also on the topic of time, we don't have a lot today.
We don't. We have
and we've got
about 30 minutes.
I had somebody ask us, why do you only talk about your weekends? Why don't you just talk about your lives?
We do talk about our lives.
I think we do, but because we say, how was your weekend? We usually go how was your Friday? How was your Saturday? How was your Sunday? And maybe because you've been gone for 10 days in Mexico, we just do a recap of how's your life?
How's your life? So, the last 2 weekends I was in Mexico. So that was my.
So was it?
Those
okay?
are my weekends.
Was
it was
fine?
awesome. It was a great trip. I did take some notes, but I'll just try to go off the cuff. Have you been to Mexico?
Only when I went on a cruise.
Okay.
We like stopped in Ensenada, Mexico.
Okay.
For like an excursion.
Cool.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys should plan a trip.
I know.
To Puerto Vallarta.
We say we want to like Chad and I are like, we need to do an all-inclusive down in Mexico.
Yeah.
Just never done.
Also, with the kids too. I know it sounds nice to not bring them maybe,
Okay.
but there's in the hotel we stay at, so it's called Paradise Village, and it's like we went there for the first time probably like 15, 20 years ago, so a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that's been like one of our go-to spots.
Okay.
Kind of my entire childhood.
Yeah.
And in Puerto Vallarta is probably, other than maybe like California, probably the vacation spot I've been to the most.
Okay.
That was just our family like go-to place because it's a direct flight. It's pretty cheap once you get there. You can, stay at a resort and have, activities for the whole family and everything.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, I absolutely love it. It's definitely one of my happy places. So we were at Paradise Village for a week with my family.
Fun.
With my parents, Isaac, Taylor, Easton, Finn, and Brian, and it was great. We did a lot of pickleball. Actually, we played pickleball. I think 3 times.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Did you see my email this morning?
I didn't. I responded. So far, I'm the only female who wants to go.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You got to recruit another female.
I tried. I sent an email saying, "Ladies, can you please step it up?"
We'll get somebody else. I sent the email an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Also, if anybody's listening as a female and wants to play pickleball with us,
Monday mornings,
Mondays at
6 a.m. How do you feel about the 6 a.m.?
You know what? I was very intimidated by that, especially coming off of a weekend.
Yeah.
But I also realized that's probably the only hour that would actually work.
Same.
Before the day gets started.
And it's so fun that it's like a fun, active way to start the week.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for it. I'm very excited.
I'm looking forward to it.
Especially, also, this is a selfish reason, but my gym that I go to doesn't have any class. I like doing classes, as we've talked about.
Right.
There's classes that I like Tuesday through Friday, but Monday mornings, there's no classes that I like. So I end up just like, I don't know, just doing my own thing or not even going to the gym. Right. And I have been looking for something Monday mornings. And this is like perfect. And I've been looking for something Monday mornings. I've been looking to do more pickleball.
Yeah.
And this is perfect. So
I'm really curious how many calories you're going to burn.
Doing pickleball? Okay, so when we played in Mexico, we played for like an hour and a half typically. I'd burn like 600 to 700 calories. For whatever reason, Brian would burn over 1,000 calories every time.
What is up with you two?
And yeah, I was jealous because I'm like, I want to burn 300 more calories, but I don't know. I don't know why he maybe because he's taller. I don't know why he burns so many more calories.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
It's amazing. I'm going to start tracking that and see. I guarantee when I'm working out, it's like maybe a couple hundred. Like it's so minimal.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. So speaking of calories, sorry, I just realized I totally just cut you off.
No, that was the end of my statement.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about active calories.
I missed 2 days in Mexico.
Okay.
So of my 1,000 day every day or 1,000 calories every day, I missed 2 days.
Okay.
So it's the 22nd. I've done 20 days so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you donating money?
I have not. That was not part of this challenge. Should it be? Every time I miss a day on any of these challenges, I donate $100.
Absolutely not.
But that charity I donated to actually for the snooze challenge has been very persistent in their follow-up. They've sent me several emails.
You're like the
voicemails.
Largest donor, and now they're like, you're going to be on their board.
I haven't responded yet because I need to respond.
One of 75 emails you haven't gotten back to.
Okay, so let me look at the rest of my notes real quick. So yeah, so we did basically we did a week with my family at the hotel, and then everybody left on Thursday, and then we were there till Sunday. Okay. So we had one night by ourselves at that same hotel until Friday. So we went to a nice little dinner on the marina. It was like a waterfront little table thing. And then Friday to Sunday, we moved from Nuevo Vallarta, which is like north of Puerto Vallarta, to like right downtown Puerto Vallarta. And it's called the Romantic Zone is what it's called. Oh. So that was awesome. Fun. It's kind of like the old town, very. So I've been to Mexico quite a few times. I've been to other areas of the country. Yeah. A lot of those feel strictly touristy to me. Old Town Puerto Vallarta feels like a legit Mexican cultural historic little neighborhood. Yeah. It's the cobblestone streets. It's so very you'll get a lot of authentic food. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Mexican people that live there, and it just feels like you're in Mexico. It doesn't feel like you're at a resort. It feels like you're in Mexico, which I love.
And you had been there before? Or was this your first time going to this park?
Walked around there before, but I'd never stayed in the area before. So
the week with your family, are you guys going to like, this is our favorite restaurant here? Do you go to like places that you've been before, or do you try new things? Is it has it changed a lot? Like, what's the?
It hasn't changed a lot. No. So there's basically there's the resort, and then there's it's called Paradise Plaza, which is like a little shopping mall.
Okay.
And pretty much it's mostly the same as it's been since we started going there.
You guys stayed at a hotel, so it's not like you had a house where you could cook food at your house. So every meal you guys are out.
Usually one meal a day we're out. So we'll do like breakfast and lunch, like either in the room or by the pool.
Just like room service.
No, like we bought cereal and bacon and eggs. We had kitchens and stuff.
In your hotel room you had kitchens? Oh, nice.
And then we had we would do like quesadillas, we'd do chips and guac, that kind of stuff. By the pool we'd order chicken strips and nachos and stuff. So that was usually like breakfast, lunch, and then we'd usually go out to dinner each night. So,
got it.
Yeah, so a lot of it was everything was new for Brian because he had not been before. But the rest of us had been to most of the restaurants. It was kind of we were used to most of the stuff. Yeah, it was very nice. Very good family time. Pretty much
good weather.
Great weather.
No
it was very humid.
Time.
Very humid.
Okay.
This is kind of like October is like the transition month from rainy season to like their main touristy season.
Oh, okay.
So you still get some pretty intense humidity.
Yeah.
But no rain at all, which was nice. But I actually do like the tropical rainstorms. Yeah. I enjoy them.
Okay.
Played a lot of pickleball. We did one like boat day. So we took a taxi from our hotel to like the marina, and we took a boat so basically there's a bunch of these little beaches north or I guess south of Puerto Vallarta you can only access by boat. So there's no roads to them. You can only get there by boat. So there's probably like a dozen or so beaches like that.
So fun.
And each one has like little restaurants, little beach club kind of stuff. So we went to one called Yolapa that we had been to before growing up, and that was great. We spent a couple hours there on the beach. There's a little hike to like a waterfall you can go to.
Fun.
It's so cool because like the whole town there's like a decent, not big, but like a little town you can walk through.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that like everything got there by boat.
Well, that's what I was just thinking.
It's crazy.
And like, do people live there? Like, there's like local residents who run those things that stay there the whole time?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was like, this is crazy if everybody's coming on and off.
Yes, there's some housing. There's probably a few hundred people that live there, I would think.
Yeah.
But there's some little restaurants. There's like a couple little hotel B&B type things.
Yeah.
So we hiked the waterfall, and then basically, so we left Jalapa, and we asked our boat driver if he would take us kind of like slowly along the coast.
Yeah.
And so we pretty much had like a 2-hour boat ride from Jalapa, going all the way north, all the way back to our hotel, going maybe more than 2 hours, going like slowly along the coast and looking at all the beautiful waterfront houses and hotels and all these little beaches and stuff along the water.
That's
so
awesome.
That was one of the highlights of my trip, was just like that boat ride. And we're playing, I was DJing, we were playing music and show tunes, and
oh my gosh,
it was very fun.
That's awesome.
So that was probably my favorite day of the trip.
Just hired this boat for the day.
Yeah, so my parents got there 2 days before we did, and they met this guy. When they were originally telling us about it, it sounded a little sketchy, and we're all like, what do you mean you met this guy? Like, what are you talking about? And it was this guy who they had this little pamphlet. I'm like, you know how easy it'd be to get a pamphlet?
So funny.
But it was legit. It was fine. And so yeah, they met this guy, and he helped us organize this boat tour.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So that was one of the days, probably my favorite day. Yeah. And then we also, every time we go down there, we volunteer for a few hours at a charity down there.
Yeah.
So when we first started going down like 20 years ago, it was called Children of the Dump.
Okay.
And it's these families that literally lived at the city dump, and they would like
shared about this.
Yeah, they would sell. Have we talked? Do we?
Not on. I don't think we talked about it here, but like I feel like your family has shared a little bit.
So they'd literally like go through the dump and find plastic and stuff that they could sell for pennies to be able to live. And they lived in the dump, like in these little shanties right next to the dump. It was really, really, really rough. And basically, so I have this memory, and I've probably shared this before, but like my brother and I, we were at the resort because we were at the same hotel, Paradise Village. And I remember we were like, I was probably like 6 to 8 years old, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And we were like fighting about something, like these icy, like the icy flavor we wanted to get, or
Right.
something so stupid.
Sure.
And something that little kids fight about. And then we went from there that same day to the children of the dump, and we saw these like two brothers that were like sharing like kind of a overly ripe banana, and it was just like this wake up call as like a 6 or 7 year old that I'm like, holy cow, I've never known how like privileged and how blessed I am, and how like so many people around the world live in these conditions.
That is, to me, such a testament of your parents to seek that out
totally
in this environment, to go and say, yeah, we're going to be on vacation, but we're going to be intentional to like show you another side of, you know, how people live.
Totally.
And we're also going to help and give our time. But I just feel like, it makes me as a parent want to do that more.
Totally.
Yeah.
I feel like as a non-parent, if we have kids someday, I think that's like something we want to do for sure, is like expose children to people who are less fortunate. Like even like Easton volunteers with my parents quite a bit at the Tacoma Rescue Mission. I think Piper is gone. And it's just like, I think seeing that as a kid just like gives you so much gratitude, and just makes you realize how good you have it. And the little things that we complain about, and like the little brattiness that every kid experiences, is like that for me was like a wake up call that has totally changed my whole like life outlook. I think so. And I think that was a big part of the reason we went. This trip was one, to bring Easton, because he's you know 8 years old, and even though he volunteers every month, you need reminders. You need consistent reminders of how good we have it. And then even for us, like I was not stoked for it. I'm like, I'd rather be sitting by the pool than taking an hour long.
That's so honest.
Thing. But we got there, and it's just like these hundreds of kids, and we met this one girl, and I was trying to speak in Spanish to them. So basically we got there, we got a little tour of the facilities. And rewind. And I'm taking up so much of the time. I'm sorry.
This episode is called Mexico.
It's called the Mexico episode. Okay, so we for the longest time they're living at the dump, and then this charity was formed, and it was largely funded by the hotel we stay at, Paradise Village. So they're a partner of this organization. And they helped build this new building, which is like a beautiful building right next to where the dump was. And the dump was actually moved outside of so it's no longer there.
Oh, interesting.
But kind of next to it is this building with like a rec center, 4 stories of housing and apartments. And basically it's for the families who were living at the dump to kind of
who they relocated. Sounds like
moved the dump. Exactly.
So
in which they lost their source of income, most of them. And so it provides housing for them. It provides like
a rec center,
daycare and stuff for the kids, lunch for the kids. It provides like workforce like training and helping them get a job. And I think they told us this week they can stay up to 5 years at in one of the apartments with their family. And then the goal is that within those 5 years they can kind of get on their feet and have a stable job and find housing kind of on their own.
Awesome.
So it's pretty amazing. Just especially seeing like from the very first time we went to now, it's just like so night and day. These families still need a lot of help, and they're still, you know, the one girl that I kind of hit it off with, she had like 10 siblings, and dad was in the picture, mom worked at a hotel, and it's just like they're just so struggling to get by. But at one point I was handing her, she like came up and asked for more juice because we were serving the lunches and stuff, and I said un momento por favor, like one moment please. And for whatever reason, that was so funny to her. And for the next hour, she kept coming up to me and mockingly saying, un momento, por favor. And she kept saying it over and over again. And then eventually, like, we kind of started, like, we were just, like, joking around with each other. And it was just so funny. And then I was trying to, like, speak to her, and I was trying to teach her some English because she spoke zero English. And, it was very fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was that day.
Yeah.
Great. Let's see. Lots of good uncle time.
Yeah.
Felt like a very long trip, I'll say.
Okay.
But I still wasn't ready to go home.
Yeah.
I was
it's funny, because I saw your parents on Friday.
Yeah.
And they were like, usually we're kind of like ready to go home. We were not ready to go home.
I could have used, I think, 2 or 3 more days.
Yeah.
But it was great nonetheless.
Yeah.
So first week was awesome with the family. Last few days, just Brian and I were awesome. Did mostly just like exploring, a lot of walking around, and It's kind of a new favorite place for me. Like I've always loved Puerto Vallarta, like in the resorts that we've gone to over the years, but that like downtown area that I had never stayed at before is like my new favorite place. Like it's awesome. Like great restaurants. There's the hotel we're staying at was like right on the water still, but you could walk to all these different restaurants and stuff. Yeah, and it was awesome. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that was the gist.
Fun.
Yes. How are you? How are your weekends?
How am I?
How's life?
Who am I? What day is it? Life's been a little bit hectic. I'm not going to lie. So, and I feel like I've said this is like my opening line to anybody who I haven't seen in a while. They're like, how are you? Like the last year I was not the designated broker, right? Yep. I had my license here. So technically I was still like here at Theory. Yeah. But I really was not doing much. Like I had maybe 2 transactions. Right. It was very minimal. I don't even know if we've told people that like I came back here.
Yeah. I don't know if we've announced that. Do you want to make the formal announcement?
Guess what, guys? She's back.
She's back. And sorry, I'm not going to steal your thunder.
No, please. What were you going to say?
You not only did you come back here, you've also taken on several other new responsibilities.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So it's funny how these little things came on. Like it was like, I had all this time last year where I was I was actually volunteering quite a bit. I was volunteering at the school, in classrooms with the auction committee. I was doing stuff with the church. I was helping, here and there with the cheer squad when they needed parents and carpooling and chaperoning, all this stuff. And so it just kind of segued. So then I was asked to coach with middle school cheer. So that's the assistant coaching role.
Assistant regional manager.
Exactly. Turns out that's a lot of time.
Yeah. Do you know like how many hours a week you're averaging with that?
I am averaging probably 10 hours a week in person but I would say a good 15 plus, like mentally, like there's a lot of communication that happens. Yeah. There's just a lot going on. And we're
15 plus in addition to the 10 or 15 total?
No, not in, so in person we're meeting, about 10 hours a week. But then we also there's just constant text messages and emails and scheduling and this and that. And I'm doing like research for things. So it takes some time.
Yeah.
And then I joined the school board. Yeah. And we just so happened. So the beginning of the year, we do a day-long retreat. So I think I shared about that. And then they're doing strategic planning, which they have not done in a long time. We just had a new head of school start last spring. So
that sounds so like British to me for some reason.
Head of
school, like the schoolmaster or whatever.
Yeah. So we had on 3 weeknights, Thursday, Friday, and Monday consecutively, we had 3-hour strategic planning meetings.
That's intense.
It was intense. Yeah. And it was like, we didn't change our core values, but it was like new mission statement, new vision statement, focus areas, SMART goals for those focus areas.
So this is probably a new motto. Once in a decade type thing, if not longer. And you just so happen to join right when it's happening.
And it's challenging. It's really challenging to come into something brand new and trying to now vision cast. Because I'm like, I don't really know where we've been. And I'm not 100% in on where you guys want to go and how we get, so it's like, anyways.
And you're still learning the board dynamics and stuff. Like for boards I've joined, it takes a solid year before you feel comfortable even speaking up.
They actually need to have training on how to do that properly.
Yeah.
And like tonight I have a board dinner. So there's it's become like between cheer practices, between the managing broker role, between board meetings, it's life's gotten real busy.
Yeah.
So and then I had a listing go live.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you.
Yeah.
You were kind of looking for that, right?
You know what? You're like, so just to be clear, you asked for this. So what I started to say is these little things came on, right? So I was doing these volunteer things and then the cheer coach from last year had been kind of like saying, oh, I really want to coach with you next year. And she had kind of been talking to me, putting the bug in my ear last spring. And so then that ended up happening. And then there was this thing with the school board and that's a 3-year commitment. So it's like it's a big thing. So then that happened and then the managing broker role happened. But it was all like, it felt like when I was saying yes to things, it was all within like a doable mindset. I was like, yeah, that seems like something I could do. Oh yeah, I could do that. So now I'm a little bit like, I have to be careful.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of a talking to from Erskine the other day because Like I just, because of those evenings going out.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's a Tuesday and my girlfriends are like, hey, do you want to meet up for like a mom happy hour? And I'm like, absolutely. And he's like, do you live here anymore? Like I'm going out every night.
Yeah.
I mean, not like in that way, but like just the commitments I have, you know.
Yeah. Going out every night.
Just going out.
Hitting the bars.
Even the kids were a little bit like, Pipes was like, you keep leaving. I'm like, okay. So having to be a bit mindful of that. But I mean, it's all good stuff. Like I'm loving coaching. I am getting to know more about the board. It was actually really as like exhausting as it was to go to those strategic planning meetings. It was really encouraging to hear the heart behind the school and hear like it was a mix of board members, faculty members, and parents that they brought into the discussion. And just I love that. I love that they got a little bit of everybody to have a voice at the table.
Board stuff is no joke. It is. I have a board meeting tonight as well.
Yeah.
And then I have a 2-hour like equity session tomorrow. We're like figuring out new equity statements and stuff. And yeah, it's a lot. It's intense.
It is intense. People are so serious.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, can we just have fun?
Yeah. That can be your role. You can be the social committee on the board.
Yeah. I know they did a little interview with me, and it was like, what do you hope to have an outcome as a board member? I should have said, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I just want you guys to lighten up a bit. Anyways, so that's been like life recently. This most recent weekend, we went to an event. A friend of mine, she works for an organization called PAX, PAX.
Okay.
And they work with like diversity and equality specifically in ministry. So they try to raise funds to give to people to be in ministry and specifically to create diversity. And I did not know that's what I was going to. I thought I was going to something else. I did know it was a fundraiser.
Okay.
So all I say, that doesn't really matter. The fact was, I did not tell Chad we were going to a fundraiser.
Oh.
I said, we're going to this event. My friend's putting it on.
Was it like an auction fundraiser?
So there was some silent auction items.
Okay.
And
did you end up with anything?
I absolutely did.
What did you end up with?
Trip to Breckenridge, Colorado.
Actually? No way.
100%.
That is awesome.
So our friends Carrie and Blue went with us as well, and who you've met.
Oh yeah.
And
Blue and Carrie.
Carrie and Blue and Chad and I have gone to a couple school auctions, and we have bid on trips together and gone together. And it's like, why not? Like we want to go on vacation together, so we get a trip out of it. Plus, we're giving to a good cause,
right?
So it's almost like a no-brainer.
And the last one in Enumclaw worked out so well.
It's so great.
Enumclaw, where was it?
It was North Bend.
It wasn't North Bend.
It was North Bend.
Wasn't it Black Diamond?
Stayed.
Oh, I thought you said Black
Isn't that right? Oh wait, is Black Diamond not?
No.
Black Diamond is where we stayed, right. But then we went to Tumble Creek.
Mm-hmm.
The place we stayed was not great. Tumble Creek was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that with them as well? That trip?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Hilarious. Yeah. So this one. So before we go to the fundraiser, we meet up with Carrie and Blue at Thirsty Hound, which I think I've mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Great little spot. And I'm like, oh, just like by the way, when we get there tonight, it is a fundraiser. And Chad looks at me and was like, what?
Were you breaking the news all three of them or just to Chad?
I think Carrie and Blue might have been into it.
Okay.
This one I love. Blue is like, oh yeah, I've researched the company that we're like going to support.
Yeah.
I've looked up their board members. I looked them up on Twitter. I was seeing what their when they raise funds, where's it going?
Wow.
How's it allocated?
Nice.
I was like, that's amazing.
That's an educated participant.
Free food and sign me up.
Yeah.
Like that's all I was there for. So
I love how all of our brains work so differently.
Isn't it so funny?
It's awesome.
Yeah. And so all that to say, when we got to the place, there was 3 auction items. There was one that was like Ferrelli's pizza gift card basket. There was one that was a couple different wines. And then there was this 7-day trip to Breckenridge, Colorado. And the minimum bid was starting at $2,000.
Okay.
And so the night's going on, we're talking, we're eating, and like Blue and I are like, nobody's bidding on anything right now. So he's like, should we do it for $1,000 per family? If we were to split it, 7 days in Colorado, we were like, so.
And was this donated by like a supporter of the?
Yeah. So he like writes down 2,000 and somebody else comes and bids 2,100. And then I'm like, not on my watch. So I went, closed us out. And We walked away with a 7-day trip to Breckenridge.
2,200?
25.
Okay.
I didn't want to leave,
Yeah.
Yeah. So needless to say, Chad and I didn't talk for the rest of the weekend. Just kidding. No, he wasn't thrilled, but once we're there, he's going to love it,
Is there already a date set for it?
No. Okay. And here's what's great. So the organizer was like, also, by the way, if you guys can't coordinate a time together, you could do 2 separate trips and split up the 7 days.
Huh. Oh, that's cool.
So if our families can't figure out a time, we could do that.
I don't know anything about Breckenridge. Is that like a ski town kind of thing?
Great question.
I think it is.
I think it's about an hour or so outside of Denver.
Okay.
The house sleeps 11 people.
Nice.
So we were like, we could bring in other families or other couples. I mean, we could make this work. So, that was a big thing that happened this last weekend.
That's awesome.
I did play some pickleball also.
Did you?
The previous weekend.
Okay.
And the best part was a gal showed up. So it was just a couple firefighter couples. There's like 4 or 5 of us. And when we were going out in their backyard, it's a beautiful property out in Fox Island. We all go out into the backyard. They've got a nice pickleball court. There's like this huge yard with a fire pit.
Oh, nice.
And so we're all just kind of hanging out. Some of them are kind of playing around. And then one of the gals comes out and she's in a full-on like pickle costume.
No way.
It was so great.
Pickle costume.
Pickle. And she like
was it like it looked like a pickle?
It looked like a pickle and like had the head cut out.
Oh my gosh.
Like just one of those like it was great.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Just really committed.
She's the one who lived there?
No.
Oh, okay.
She's a guest. Just a passionate pickleball player.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I know. I'm like, I need to buy like pickleball shoes now and I need to invest in this sport.
I'm sorry. Pickleball shoes?
There's got to be a thing. I don't actually know. I've never looked at it. I'm sure there are pickleball shoes.
I did invest in my own paddles recently.
Okay.
So
nice.
That's something. Chad got me an elbow brace. So
oh yeah. Forgot about your elbow issues.
That's still happening. Yeah. I mean, outside of that, we've just been living life.
Yeah.
This last weekend, in addition to dropping a couple grand on a fundraiser, we also got to connect with some families that we hadn't seen in a long time. So there's this couple in Santa Barbara that was like super pivotal in Chad's life and mine actually too. Like they kind of helped bring us a little bit together and they were like mentors of ours. They were in town. And so we got to have dinner with them and we hadn't seen them in forever. So that was really fun. That was Sunday. And the rest of the weekend has just been kind of like, I did an open house at my Federal Way listing. So it's been like mixed with like little work things, little family things, and then just fun friend stuff.
Nice.
So
love it. Yeah. How's your Enneagram coaching going? Have you been doing it?
I wasn't expecting you to ask me about this actually. I have been doing it. And can I just be honest? So
not great.
No, it is. It is good. I think for me, it's one of those things where like I'm actually not sure what I'm trying to get out of it. And I think this next time I have because one of the things as a coaching program, I know the thing is like what they want you to do is they want you, if I'm coaching you, I'd be like, okay, Austin, what's like some goals you want to work on this next week? And you would tell them like, how are you going to do those? What's a way you're going to track? What's the accountability and action plan going to look like? So you would like tell me those things. For this, she kind of similarly asked me that this last time of like, what do you want to try to do? And I was having such a hard time. Like, I don't know what I want to do with this specific
like related to your Enneagram.
I talked about like organizing a back area because one of my things is the Enneagram is like avoiding things that are just dull, boring, hard, emotionally tough. Like I just want to like,
yeah.
And she gave me the encouragement of like, what if you partnered that with something you enjoy? Like, what if you made it enjoyable? Like you listen to a fun audiobook or a podcast as you're doing a hard task or I don't know, something like that. So I just kind of pull that out of the air of like, maybe I'll do something hard with something I enjoy.
Okay. That's interesting. Actually, I went to Costco yesterday instead of on the weekend. And so I went on Monday evening.
Oh, Monday. Okay, yeah. I was like,
just as busy as it always is. So it didn't really matter.
Like, didn't change.
But when I walked in, I'm like, I'm going to make this like a race. And I'm going to see how fast I can get through this. And I think I got there at like 7 p.m. And I'm like, I want to be in the line by 7:30, I think. Or maybe it was like, I think I gave myself like 25 minutes. And I got to the line at exactly that 25-minute mark.
That's so fun.
That was how I gamified Costco.
That's how but see, this is, okay, so that's so funny because was it yesterday? I don't know. One of the days this weekend, Chad and I did we did 20 minutes in 190-degree sauna.
Yeah.
And then we did 3 minutes in really cold water.
Yeah.
And then we did it again.
Wow.
And we went back in the cold water.
Oh my gosh.
We ended in the cold water. And he was like, you are going to feel amazing. You're going to feel this euphoric and it's going to be so great. And like, I got to be honest, I didn't feel that different than normal. And so when we were walking later and he was saying like, so did you feel like, how did you feel? And I was like, honestly, not that different. And he said for him, it's the fact that he did something hard gives him such a sense of joy.
Yeah.
And I am like, I just don't.
That's doesn't do it.
So like for you to be like, I'm going to time myself. And like that was exciting to you. And that it's just so different. Like my brain is like.
It's such a 3 thing. To set a goal and achieve it is like the best feeling.
Yeah.
And it really is for me and for Chad. I guarantee, like doing something hard, setting a goal, like it's this feeling of just like accomplishment that we are driven by. It
really made me realize, okay, it's actually not so much what we did. Like it wasn't so much the fact that it was sauna, cold, and it was just the fact that it was hard.
Right.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
And that is such a testament of like how his brain, clearly your brain as well, works.
Yeah. If anytime I go in the sauna, I set the time ahead of time that I'm going to sit in it for X number of minutes.
Yeah.
And it's always hard. And I pretty much always do it. Even if I feel like I'm going to pass out, I still like go to the very end of that minute. And the second that I hit that minute mark, I'm out of the sauna. But if I hadn't set the goal in the first place for that number of minutes, there's no way I would have lasted that long.
Right.
So it's just that, setting a, arbitrary number goal and then hitting it is just so satisfying.
But also the fact that like that achievement piece is what creates the euphoria. It wasn't actually the physical response my body had from the cold, hot. It was for him just the fact that we did something hard. And so I wasn't as like, oh yeah, that felt amazing when we did that again. Anyways, that was another part of my weekend.
Awesome.
All that to say, back to the Enneagram coaching, I am learning. I'm liking what I'm learning about the 7s, and I'm feeling like she's giving me permission to think differently.
Okay.
That it's okay to be like wanting to make things enjoyable. Like it's okay that I'm like, if I have to do a hard task to figure out a way to make it fun,
right?
It's not going to be a race against time, but something along those lines. But I think I almost want to be like, what do you think I should be getting out of this? Like to the coach. Yeah. She's always asking me like, very open-ended, what would feel successful at the end of today's talk?
Yeah.
And, what do you want to get out of this? And how do you want to, and I'm just like, I don't know how to answer all those questions. So
interesting. So I do coaching every couple weeks, with Brian Reynolds.
Oh, awesome.
It's usually every 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
And usually when I go into it, I don't have an agenda in mind. I'm kind of just like, I just want to just talk.
Right.
And usually by the end of it, just by having a conversation and like kind of spilling out of my head, like what is in there, usually it leads to some sort of productive outcome. Right. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but like, even if you don't have a goal for the coaching, just talking about what's going on related to your 7-ness can, I think, sometimes make you have realizations about things and make you walk away with something like, oh, I didn't even realize that I was looking for that, but I walked away with that new perspective.
True. Yeah. And she does give me, there's like worksheets that I look at and prepare before our sessions. And those have some like leading questions that kind of help me start to think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I need to think of like my immediate life or if I need to be going like back and thinking like big picture.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, I'm not sure whether to focus on these like giant life habits or if I just need to be like, I really need to clean that back room and my brain is just stopping me.
Yeah.
Like those little things. So anyways.
Make it fun.
I
like that. Yeah. I like that approach.
Yeah. That's literally my life.
I think it's great. I think that's a great way to live life.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right. Happy 43rd.
Happy 43rd. And our last. Goodbye, everybody.